Today, we are going to dive deep into one of the most shocking, dramatic, and humiliating events of the Russia-Ukraine war so far. An event that did not happen in the muddy trenches of the front lines, not in contested villages or battlefields where soldiers clash every day, but instead right in the glittering heart of Moscow itself. We're talking about Ukrainian drones striking Putin's $1.5 billion Moscow skyscrapers, towers that were meant to stand as a proud symbol of Russia's power and modernity, now reduced to broken glass, smoke, and international humiliation. When those drones hit, the world didn't just see explosions on a skyline. The world saw the illusion of safety shatter. For years, Russians believed Moscow was untouchable. They believed their capital, defended by some of the most advanced air defense systems in the world, was beyond the reach of the war. They believed that their towers of glass and steel represented strength and progress. But in a single night, Ukrainian drones reminded them, and reminded Putin himself, that no place is truly safe in modern warfare. These towers in Moscow's International Business Center were not just ordinary buildings. They were skyscrapers worth roughly $1.5 billion, filled with banks, international corporations, government offices, and the offices of Russia's wealthiest elites. They were designed to send a message to the world that Russia could stand shoulder to shoulder with London, with New York, with Dubai, that Moscow was not just an old capital filled with history, but a modern, global city. Their glass facades shone like a promise of prosperity. But when Ukrainian drones slipped through Russian defenses and smashed into them, the towers became something else entirely. They became symbols of fragility, of failure, of humiliation. The strike itself was both simple and devastating. Unmanned aerial vehicles, cheap by comparison to Russia's massive defense budget, flew across hundreds of kilometers, evaded radar, bypassed systems that were supposed to be impregnable, and struck Moscow's most prized business towers. Glass shattered, facades cracked open, smoke rose into the air, and for the first time, ordinary Muscovites looked up at their skyline and saw it scarred by war. On the ground, people filmed the aftermath, uploading videos of broken windows, debris littering the streets, and smoke pouring from the towers. Within hours, those images spread worldwide. They went viral, not because of the scale of the physical destruction, but because of the symbolism. Moscow was not supposed to look like this. Putin's billion-dollar towers were not supposed to burn. Yet here they were, humiliated in front of the entire world. Inside the skyscrapers, panic unfolded. Workers who had been sitting in offices, typing away at computers, discussing financial deals, or attending boardroom meetings suddenly found themselves scrambling for safety. Sirens wailed, lights flickered, shards of glass fell across desks and hallways. Evacuation drills that were meant for fire safety were suddenly put to the test in the middle of a drone strike. These were not soldiers. These were executives, bankers, government officials, secretaries, cleaners, people who believed that their lives in the capital were distant from the battlefield. In an instant, they were living what Ukrainians have endured for months. The shock of drones striking their cities, the scramble to escape, the fear that nowhere is safe. What makes this moment so powerful is not just the damage, but the psychology. For ordinary Muscovites walking through the city, seeing smoke rising from skyscrapers that had always been symbols of wealth and security was a chilling realization. For the Russian elite, many of whom had invested in these towers or worked within them, the humiliation was personal. They had believed their wealth insulated them. They had believed that by living in Moscow, protected by Putin's promises of strength, they were safe. That illusion is gone. And for the world, this strike was a demonstration of how the rules of war have changed forever. Reports from inside the Kremlin suggest that Putin was furious. Furious that his defenses failed. Furious that his billion-dollar towers were scarred. Furious that the humiliation was broadcast around the globe. And there is good reason for his anger. This strike was not just another incident on the battlefield. It was a direct hit to his image, to his authority, to the very symbol of his modern Russia. The emergency response in Moscow was quick. Firefighters rushed to the towers. Police sealed off the financial district. Medical teams treated injuries. The chaos of smoke and broken glass was met with the sound of sirens and flashing lights. But this response, however efficient, could not cover up the truth. Skyscrapers are built with fire alarms, sprinklers, and evacuation routes for accidents or natural disasters. They are not built to withstand drone strikes. And as much as Russia tried to present calm and order after the attack, the reality was obvious to everyone. If this happened once, it could happen again. The financial consequences are also immense. The Moscow City towers, valued at $1.5 billion, are not just architectural trophies. They are ecosystems. Banks, corporations, government agencies, and international investors are tied to them. The physical repairs, replacing shattered glass, repairing damaged interiors, will run into the millions. But the bigger cost is confidence. Confidence from businesses who now wonder if Moscow is safe. Confidence from international investors who may think twice before putting money into a city where skyscrapers can be struck by drones. Confidence from Russia's elite, who thought their money bought security, only to see that security shattered in smoke and glass. Insurance companies will raise premiums. Tenants will face disruptions. Some may even relocate. And all of this was achieved with drones costing a fraction of what Russia invested in building and defending those towers. Once again, the imbalance is the story. Cheap technology causing billion-dollar disruption. This is why drones are not just weapons, they are game changers. For Ukraine, the strike was about more than damage. It was about showing the world that they can hit deep into the Russian capital. It was about boosting morale at home, proving that even against one of the strongest militaries on earth, they can strike back. It was about sending a message to their people and their allies. We are not only surviving, we are innovating. We can reach Moscow itself. And for the world, it was a reminder that supporting Ukraine means supporting a country that is rewriting the rules of modern warfare. The global implications are enormous. If skyscrapers in Moscow can be hit, then skyscrapers anywhere can be hit. Every major capital, from London to Washington to Beijing, must now rethink security. Airports, financial hubs, government towers, all must be reconsidered in light of this new drone era. Because the truth is simple. No city was ever designed for this. No building was built to resist drones slipping silently across the sky. The lesson of Moscow's billion-dollar towers is one that every city must now confront. In modern war, there is no such thing as untouchable. The psychological impact will last far longer than the physical repairs. Russians now live with the knowledge that their capital is vulnerable. The elites who once thought they were insulated by wealth and power now understand that their towers of glass can shatter just like any building. And Ukraine, for its part, has gained not just a morale boost, but a strategic advantage. It has shown that with creativity and determination, even a smaller nation under attack can strike humiliation into the heart of a superpower. This strike will be studied for years by military experts, economists, and historians. It will be remembered not for the broken glass, but for the broken illusion. It will be cited as an example of how asymmetric warfare works, how technology rewrites the balance of power, how drones turn symbols of strength into symbols of fragility. The towers will be repaired, the offices will reopen, business will continue, but the memory of that night, when Ukrainian drones hit Moscow's $1.5 billion skyscrapers, will not fade. It was more than an attack. It was a humiliation, a reminder that Putin's Russia is not untouchable, and a signal to the world that in this new era of drone warfare, no matter how tall the building, no matter how expensive the glass, no matter how powerful the defenses, nothing is truly safe.